Evening exercise day 14. Your next and final exercise for this week is to prepare for next week's work. In the coming week, we will delve into your relationship to your body. Fear shows up in some super nasty ways when it comes to our body image and physical health. I hope this chapter gives you a new, incredible perspective and heightens your awareness of the possibility for miracles. Change your mind about your body and your body will change. Enjoy week 3's introduction and get ready to take your miraculous practice to a whole new level. Week 3, body image. I believe that we are spirits having a human experience. What do I mean by this? Now this is a loaded statement, so let me break it down for you, Spirit Junkie style. Through my coursework, I've come to understand that the body is a learning device for us to reconnect to our true essence, which is love. In our bodies, we can go through a lot of funky assignments to ultimately return to our spiritual faith in love. A Course in Miracles teaches us to use our body to show up for these assignments and learn spiritual lessons. This process can be difficult at times, but it allows us to recognize that we are here in our body to transcend our fear of the world and communicate the lessons of love. The ego cannot comprehend the concept of the body as a learning device. The ego has convinced us that our body is who we are. We've identified with our ego perceptions of being fat, tall, short, black, white, crippled, sick, and so on. The ego compares the body to other bodies. The ego wants us to use the body to get more from the world, whether it's sex, money, or success. Worst of all, the ego convinces us to be afraid of the body. I can safely say that most of us, at some point in time, have had a negative relationship to our body. Experiencing our body through our ego's eyes will always kick up feelings of inadequacy and separateness. When we succumb to the thoughts of our ego, we experience low-level thoughts which negatively affect our body's energy field. If we're constantly attacking ourselves with nasty thoughts, the energy behind those thoughts seep into our body, and that low-level energy is powerful, whether we realise it or not. In its worst form, this negative energy can manifest as illness, which in turn reinforces fear. When we carry around resentment, self-hatred and judgment, we attack our bodies with low-level thoughts and energy. The fear we carry is like a virus in our minds, and eventually that virus can take over our bodies. As we begin to understand how energy affects our bodies, we will come to see how spiritual healing will greatly support physical healing. From the Course's perspective, each time we perceive our body with judgment or attack by comparing it to other bodies, we are separating ourselves from our truthful state, love. And each time we separate from love, we feel, to put it bluntly, like crap. We think we feel bad because our body isn't good enough, or because the world told us we were fat, ugly, poor, and so on. But the real reason we feel so terrible is because we are separated from love. This disassociation from love makes us feel an unconscious guilt. We experience this guilt because deep down we know that ultimately we're responsible for disconnecting from our loving truth. A Course in Miracles describes this guilt as though we've disassociated with love, aka God, and in essence we've killed our connection to love. This ignites the ego's unconscious guilt. Even though the guilt exists below our level of consciousness, we feel its pain and we want to numb it. The ego works hard to anaesthetize this feeling of guilt by hooking us into fearful patterns from overeating and body dysmorphia to substance abuse, unhealthy sexual behaviour, and so on. Why? These behaviours strengthen the ego's spiral and keep us locked into fear. Think about your own behaviour. When you feel uncomfortable, it's likely you turn to fearful thoughts, actions and behaviour to avoid dealing with this discomfort. This is the ego's nasty trick of denial. When we deny our feelings of guilt, we go deeper into the fear and heighten our faith to the ego. Fear is a hungry, bottomless pit. This is where our abuse of the body becomes unconscious and addictive. Whether we're abusing our body through our thoughts, actions or beliefs, we're reinforcing fear one moment at a time. to keep the ego satisfied and full. For the first 25 years of my life, I was caught up in this type of ego perception of my body. I used my body to gain status. I thought that if I dressed my body in a short enough skirt, I could get the attention I sought so desperately. I spent years thinking my body was better than those a size bigger and hating my body for not being a size smaller. I abused it with food, drugs, alcohol and stress. Worst of all, I abused my body with my thoughts. My ego ran the show, and as a result I spent decades using the outside world to fortify my feelings of incompleteness. The ego pattern and fearful projections I placed on my body made me physically ill in many ways. For instance, no matter how many times I tried to stop taking drugs, I couldn't let go of the addiction because I used the drugs to numb my unhealed pain. No matter how many times I tried to stop binge eating, I couldn't quit for fear of not having enough. Each of these abusive patterns was the result of a spiritual condition. I had separated from love and chose my ego's perception. All my body's disease was what many metaphysicians refer to as dis-ease. My fearful body created dis-ease in my mind and therefore affected my physical condition, not to mention the harshest consequence. I was stuck in the ego's body fear spiral of needing to constantly find an outward solution for an inward condition. Overeating, overdrinking and overly obsessing about my weight were among several of the ways this ego behaviour manifested in my life. By the time I hit my bottom at the age of 25, my body had hit bottom too. I was in my mid-20s and weighed 99 pounds. I had 6 ulcers and a severe drug addiction, and all this physical illness was the result of a spiritual condition. Upon hitting bottom, I had no choice but to get sober and heal my fear-based perceptions. Through my spiritual practice, my body began to heal itself naturally. During my recovery, I learned to have a loving perspective of my body. Then, as I grew to become a full-on spirit junkie, my body's real purpose became clear to me. I learned that my body and all of its functions was a vehicle through which I would share an empowering message with the world. This realization gave me all the inspiration I've needed to stay healthy and fit for the work I am here to do. As a speaker, writer and recantor for love, I consciously use my body as a messenger for helping others awaken their spirits and start on their own spiritual paths. Today, armed with this new understanding of my body's purpose, I am extremely conscious of how I treat my body, because I understand that my body is here to be a messenger for transformation. I'm highly aware of how my thoughts and actions affect my physical condition. This level of awareness and spiritual commitment enables me to maintain a life of sobriety. I eat clean, healthy food and give my body the physical exercise it needs. Most important, I feed myself loving thoughts, reinforcing my miracle mindset one moment at a time. Living in this way provides me the energy, health and glow that I need to shine from the inside out and be an authentic guide. The Course suggests that the body can serve one of 2 masters, the ego or your ing. When we have an ego perception of the body, it serves an ongoing purpose to prove specialness and separation. Whereas when the body serves love, we allow our ing to lead us to the right perception. Our inner guide looks at the ego as an illusion, seeing its lies and false projections. Upon realizing the loving purpose of the body, our inner guide uses the body as a learning device for deep growth and change. In my case, healing occurred when I stopped using my body to get something from the world and instead used it to serve the world. Bringing all physical illness to our inner guide for healing will lead us to know the true lessons behind what the body is trying to teach us. The body transforms from the ego's weapon into the ing's vehicle for healing and extending love. The miracle. When you start to pay attention to how your thoughts affect your body, you become much more conscious of what you think. Whether you're an overeater, a heavy drinker, or a drug abuser, or you have a different issue, you'll come to know a new freedom. When you change your mind about your body changes. In fact, not only does your body change, but the purpose of the body shifts as well. Once you begin to see your body as love, you learn how to use it as a communication device for sharing that love. Healing the body the miracle-minded way. The miracle-minded perspective on physical healing is much different from what we've been taught to believe in. The miracle mindset does not aim to deny physical illness. It does, however, aim to establish a new way of perceiving the condition. The key principle to experiencing a miracle-minded perspective of the body is to welcome your ing in for healing. This practice requires that the mind be healed in order to support the healing of the body. Remember that fear in our mind creates illness in the body. Therefore, a mental cleanse is required to aid in the process of physical healing. When you apply the thought system that your mind can aid in healing your body, you can experience many miracles. It's not that the physical condition just disappears, though it often does, but that you're guided to exactly who and what you need for healing to take place. When you welcome healing miracles, you'll see how spirit works through people to aid in your recovery. I've experienced miraculous physical healing as a result of turning my life over to ing. For instance, I once had an experience where I caught a terrible flu while lecturing in Los Angeles. I was knocked out for several days. I had many meetings scheduled and I was hosting a huge lecture that weekend. Because I was in Los Angeles, I was struggling to find a doctor who would take on new patients. I was bedridden and sicker than I'd been in years. Rather than succumb to the discomfort of the illness, I prayed for guidance. I asked for a miracle. In my prayers, I was willing to be guided to whatever it would take to get better. A few moments after my prayer, I received a call from a friend. She suggested that I ask my doctor in New York for a referral. My uncreative ego mind hadn't thought of this when I was aggressively trying to get someone to help me in LA. I chose to follow my friend's suggestion and reached out to my doctor in New York by sending an SOS email to my doctor and dear friend, Dr. Frank Lipman. Frank responded in minutes, informing me that he had contacted a holistic doctor in Santa Monica who would see me that day based on referral. Within the hour, I was in the office of a man named Dr. D. Mello. This doctor took me in with open arms and put me on an intravenous vitamins. He shared my spiritual philosophies and holistic approach to health. Before putting the vitamins vial into the catheter, he asked me to pray into the vitamins. The entire experience with Dr. D. Mello was incredibly guided. I felt an invisible presence by our side working through him and through the vitamins. I was 99% better the next morning. This is an example of what happens when you let love enter the healing process. It's not that you just say a prayer and the illness is gone immediately, though that can happen, but the real miracle is that you allow the universe to guide you to create opportunities for healing. Maybe you're led to the right practitioner who will resonate with you and get to the root cause of your condition. Or possibly you're intuitively guided to a book that helps you heal your mind and body. I believe that spirit works through doctors and healers of all kinds to help guide your healing process. When you think with your ego, you block the guidance towards the right healing. When you think with love, you invite spirit to work through others to heal on your behalf. Take this healing approach into your exercises this week, and I will guide you to address the root cause of all illness and destructive body behaviour. When you bring these issues to the surface for healing, you will feel a sense of relief in simply knowing that there is a way out of your fear-based pattern. Pay attention to the guidance and trust that Spirit is working on your behalf to heal your wrong-minded perceptions and guide you towards all that you need to heal your body. The Course emphasises that a miracle is a shift from body identification to spirit identification. When you surrender your thoughts to the care of your inner guide, Spirit removes the limitations of the body and awakens your awareness of miracles. Throughout this week, you'll be guided to call on your ing for a shift in perception from body identification to spirit identification, restoring your mind to the right perception of who you truly are. So, I'll see you tomorrow to begin day 15 from week 3 body image. Well done.